उसके हस्बैंड अमेरिकन भी हैं, तो उन्होंने कहा कि तो अंग्रेजी में चलाते हैं, नहीं तो हिंदी में खुद बोलते हैं पक्का। आप हिंदी में बोलिए। दोनों चलेगा।
हाँ
चलेगा, हिंदी में बोल जाइए।
हिंदुस्तानी में
जीवी साहब की हिंदी मेरे से अच्छी है इसलिए बोलवा रहे हैं।
चलो भाई, सारा हिंदुस्तान हमें चलाया है, इलेक्शंस है। हाँ, हम जानते हैं क्या। परम आदरणीय डॉक्टर भीष्म नारायण सिंह जी, जो व्यक्ति इंदिरा गांधी जी का कैबिनेट में पार्लियामेंट्री अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर थे, हिंदुस्तान में 7 राज्यों का राज्यपाल थे, बहुत अनुभवी है, देशभक्त है। राज्यपाल के बाद हमारा श्री अमलोक रतन कोहली जी, वो राज्यपाल थे, बहुत आदरणीय थे। और तीसरा पूर्व राज्यपाल श्री वीपी सिंह जी, पहले गृह सचिव थे, होम सेक्रेटरी थे, और इसके बाद राज्यपाल थे, वर्ल्ड बैंक में थे, हैदराबाद। उसको 3 एक्स गवर्नर्स है, माजी राज्यपाल है। ये माजी होना, अभी बता रहे थे, माजी होना शाश्वत है, वर्तमान होना टेम्पररी है। वर्तमान राज्यपाल टेम्पररी है, माजी राज्यपाल परमानेंट है। मैं भी माजी हूँ, वर्तमान चुनाव आयुक्त टेम्पररी है, माजी चुनाव आयुक्त परमानेंट है, शाश्वत है। इसके बाद श्री मेजर वेद प्रकाश जी, बहुत सीनियर आदमी है, देशभक्त में जुड़ा हुआ है, जनरल सेक्रेटरी कांग्रेस का। श्री सरदार बलबीर सिंह जी, ये भी कांग्रेस का जनरल सेक्रेटरी। और इस संस्था का मूल स्तंभ है हमारा भांजा तरक है सरदार गुरेंद्र सिंह और सरदार दीपक सिंह, और इनका पिताजी सरदार हरभजन सिंह जी मेरा छोटा भाई तरह थे, इतना प्यार करते थे। ये संस्था NRI वेलफेयर सोसाइटी स्थापना उन्होंने किया है। ये 33rd कॉन्फ्रेंस है, 33rd कॉन्फ्रेंस है इंटरनेशनल कांग्रेस ऑफ NRIs। फॉर द लास्ट सो मेनी ईयर्स, कई साल से सब NRIs को बुला के यहाँ आदर करके जो जो काम किया है भारत का झंडा ऊंचा उठाने के लिए दूसरे देशों में, उन लोग आदर का लायक है, उनको बुला के करते थे। सरदार हरभजन सिंह कई साल वो परंपरा, सरदार गुरेंद्र सिंह और सरदार दीपक सिंह, ये लोग वो चला रहे। मैं बहुत खुश हूँ, क्योंकि दूसरों को आदर करना अच्छा काम के लिए हिंदुस्तान का परंपरा है। और मैं ये कहता हूँ, मेरा सौभाग्य है, मैं स्वतंत्रता सेनानी का परिवार से आता हूँ। मेरा दादा स्वतंत्र सेनानी थे आज़ादी के पहले। और मैं जब स्टूडेंट था, मेरा उम्र 12 साल था, मैं नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस बाल सेना में सदस्य था। मेरे ऊपर ब्रिटिश लाठीचार्ज हुआ, मेरे को एक दिन डिटेन कर दिया। और स्कूल में वो कहा था, कैप्टन रमणैया कहा था, सिंगापुर से आके बाल सेना स्टार्ट किया, प्रेसिडेंट सर के जगह आप जय हिंद बोलना चाहिए। मैं जय हिंद बोल दिया, थप्पड़ मार के मुझे श्रीहर्षराव टीचर गणेश शास्त्री 21 दिन स्कूल से निकाल दिया। सो छोटा रूप में स्वतंत्र संग्राम में मेरे भी 1945 में वो शामिल होने का आदर मिला था। अब देखिए, जीवन में मुझे बहुत बहुत ऊंचा मौका मिला था देश को सेवा करने के लिए। मैं 25 ईयर्स बैक भारत सरकार का सचिव था, सेक्रेटरी टू गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया एंड मेंबर ऑफ द टीम ऑफ लीगल एडवाइजर्स टू प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया। तो इतना अनुभव सीखने का पाने का मौका मिला था। अब ये कहता हूँ, भारत को देखा आज़ाद का पहले। जब भारत आज़ाद हो गया मेरा उम्र 14 साल था। आज़ाद के बाद ये भारत को देखा था। मुझे याद है 1943-44 में मैं जाता था मार्केट को सुई खरीदने के लिए, मेरा माँ कपड़ा सिलाने का, मेड इन इंग्लैंड। हिंदुस्तान में सुई भी नहीं बनता था। मेरा पिताजी को दाढ़ी बनाने के लिए 7 o'clock ब्लेड्स खरीद के लाता था, वो भी मेड इन इंग्लैंड था। और मेरा पिताजी का साइकिल मेड इन इंग्लैंड था। सो ऐसा सिचुएशन से भारत 2014 में जनवरी 25 तक क्या क्या प्रगति किया, ये देख के मुझे बहुत गर्व आता है। हिंदुस्तान का नाम सारा दुनिया में अच्छा हो गया। ये अच्छा होने का कारण 2 है। पहले कारण है, सारा दुनिया में कई लोग गुलामी थे, कई देश गुलामी थे। इन ऑल कॉन्टिनेंट्स, इन अफ्रीका, इन एशिया, इन ऑस्ट्रेलिया, इन साउथ अमेरिका एंड several countries, and we have the forerunners of democracy in the 20th century. And 2000 के बाद the world has entered, सारा दुनिया एक तो डेमोक्रेसी का युग है, दूसरा युग है धर्मनिरपेक्षता का युग है, दिस एज ऑफ सेक्युलरिज्म। तीसरा है ग्लोबलाइजेशन का। मैं लंबा भाषण नहीं देना चाहता हूँ, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ, हिंदुस्तान में डेमोक्रेसी शुरू हो गया 1946 इलेक्शंस से। मैं वॉलंटियर था इन 1946 इलेक्शंस में। भारत माता की जय, जवाहरलाल नेहरू की जय, गांधी की जय, सुभाष चंद्र बोस की जय, ये काम करने का, सेवा करने का मौका मिला था। सो इन फ्रॉम दैट स्टेज इंडिया इन 2014 is able to champion the cause of man, the progress of man, the future of man. से बहुत खुश हूँ। अब ये NRIs का रोल है। NRIs का रोल has been miraculous. The first member of parliament, hey Deepak, first member of parliament, an Indian member of parliament in England, Dada Bhai Nauroji hai. Dada Bhai Nauroji got elected to British Parliament, an Indian who got elected. Hats off to him. We should remember him. Similarly, I had the privilege of being with Krishna Menon for 10 years. Krishna Menon was elected to London Borough Council for 14 long years by British people. A black, an Indian was called. He was elected by the British people, and he had the privilege of being a leader of Indians and associated with the British Labour Party, Attlee, Bevan, Harold Laski, all of them. And he took Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and introduced him to the British Labour leaders. And he was the man who brought Mountbatten to Delhi. Churchill, when he was Prime Minister, वो कहा था इंडिया विल नेवर गेट फ्रीडम नॉर वी आर रेडी टू गिव। सेकेंड वर्ल्ड वॉर के बाद जब हार गया चर्चिल, लेबर पार्टी केम इनटू पावर. सो Attlee in the elections he said that we will consider, but Krishna Menon insisted. A lot of people do not know this. Krishna Menon insisted, when you are offering Dundee parliamentary seat to me to be elected by British people, you must put in your manifesto, we will give freedom to India, then only I will contest. And they did not say this, he didn't contest. All this I know because of my personal association for 10 long years. What a privilege it was. He was one of my mentors, major mentor in Delhi, and from the days of Jawaharlal Nehru. So the point I am mentioning is NRIs have done great service to the country. They have taken the flag of India to all continents. And so the present position is the service, with this I will stop. There have been waves of migration from India to Africa, to Europe, and to other countries. And then 7th century, 15th century, 19th century onwards, with several countries including Africa. And in Africa, Mahatma Gandhi experiment start kiya non-violence. He started the experiment of non-violence, of protest. ये बताने के लिए सब मानव है, सब इंसान है, इंसानों को इंसान तरह देखना है, गोरे हो काले हो कोई भी हो. ये स्टार्ट किया महात्मा गांधी अफ्रीका से. सो ये दिखाया सारा दुनिया में ये मूवमेंट है, नॉन वायलेंस है. ये नॉन वायलेंट मूवमेंट से उनका जो परिश्रम है, लीडरशिप है, इट ब्रॉड फ्रीडम टू इंडिया. एंड दिस फ्रीडम वाज फॉलोड. ये फ्रीडम, स्वतंत्रता सारा कॉन्टिनेंट्स में, साउथ अमेरिका में, अफ्रीका में, एशिया में, सब जगह ये नॉन वायलेंट मूवमेंट की वजह से कई देश स्वतंत्र हो गया. नाउ देयर आर 193 countries in the world in the United Nations, out of which 123 देश डेमोक्रेसी है. And India, democracy started in 1946, and in 1947 we have got the independence. आने के बाद 1950 से डेमोक्रेसी स्टार्ट किया है. ये क्यों कह रहा हूँ? भारत सारा दुनिया में लोकतंत्र में पहले देश है. ऐसा देश में ये दिखाने के बाद हम इतना इलेक्शंस के बाद दिखाया 214 तक, हिंदुस्तान लोकतंत्र के माध्यम से प्रगति कर सकते हैं. हिंदुस्तान का एनआरआई लोग सारा दुनिया जाके अपना काम से, अपना प्रतिभा से ये देश को बढ़ावा कर सकते हैं. अब ये देखिए, मिडिल ईस्ट में सऊदी अरेबिया में 14 लाख थे इंडियंस, यूनाइटेड अरब एमिरेट्स में 12 लाख थे, कुवैत में 5 लाख थे, ओमान में 3,50,000 थे. ऐसा साउथ ईस्ट एशिया में, मलेशिया में 23 लाख थे. दीज आर लेटेस्ट फिगर्स. सिंगापुर में 4 लाख थे, साउथ अमेरिका गयाना में 3 लाख थे, 3,26,782. सूरीनाम में 1,62,000. Similarly, in other countries, in Africa, साउथ अफ्रीका में 12 लाख एनआरआईस थे. सारा साउथ अफ्रीका आगे ले जा रहे हैं उनकी वजह से. मॉरिशस में 8 लाख थे, केन्या में 70 लाख थे, यूरोप में, यूके में 25 लाख थे. मुझे याद है, मैं जब लंदन में पढ़ रहा था, एडवांस स्टडीज कर रहा था, आई मेट द हेल्थ मिनिस्टर. ही टोल्ड मी इंडियन डॉक्टर्स इन यूनाइटेड किंगडम 7 लाख डॉक्टर्स है. ये 7 लाख डॉक्टर्स इंडिया चले गए तो ब्रिटिश मेडिकल सर्विस कोलैप्स हो जाता है. कितना तारीफ है, देश के लिए तारीफ का है. ये बात क्यों कह रहा हूँ? आवर पीपल हु हैव बीन एजुकेटेड इन इंग्लिश, ए फॉरेन लैंग्वेज, and mastered the medicine. And the latest scenario is in America, Sloan Kettering Hospital, major hospital in the world है for cancer, सब जानते हैं. उसका चेयरमैन है एक इंडियन है. इंडियन का नाम है डॉक्टर नोरी दत्तात्रेयलू फ्रॉम मसलपेटा. कितना बढ़िया. अरे ताली बजाओ भाई, क्या करते हैं आप लोग? So we have shown that we can master this English language, It is no more the monopoly of the British people. And we can master the education, master sciences, master technology and software in America, Silicon Valley. We have shown that our intellect is no less than anybody else in the world. This we have shown to democracy. And in democracy we had so many elections. We have shown to the world. लोकतंत्र से देश आगे बढ़ सकता है. And the last point I am mentioning is, what is the contribution of NRIs? NRIs today are in every continent, almost in every country, as teachers, as doctors, as engineers, as technicians, and record is, we have in the history prime ministers of foreign countries. महेंद्र चौधरी 1999 में प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो गया फिजी को. ये हिंदुस्तानी है, एनआरआई है, पीआईओ है. मोहम्मद महाथीर 1981 में प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो गया. चड्डी जगन गयाना को प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो गया 1953 में. शिवसागर राम गुलाम मॉरिशस का, मॉरिशस बाबूजी का वजह से हम जा सके हैं दैट कॉन्फ्रेंस के, ये भी पीआईओ है. नवीन चंद्र राम गुलाम प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो गया 1995 में. अनिरुद्ध जगन्नाथ प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो गया 1982-2006 में. आई एम रीडिंग दिस फास्ट. वासुदेव पांडे ट्रिनिडाड एंड टोबैगो का प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो गया. ये पीआईओ, ए मैन ऑफ इंडियन ऑरिजिन, बिकमिंग प्राइम मिनिस्टर ऑफ द कंट्री. कृष्ण प्रसाद भट्टराय पीआईओ है, पर्सन ऑफ इंडियन ऑरिजिन, नेपाल में प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो गया. मनमोहन अधिकारी 1994 में प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो गया. अब देखिए, फिर राष्ट्रपति भी हो गया. ये प्राइम मिनिस्टर की बात नहीं है. दे हैव बिकम राष्ट्रपति, एंड दैट इज क्रेडिट फॉर एनआरआईस एंड पीआईओस. Becoming Rashtrapati of a country, foreign country, who are these presidents? Just I stop. Devan Nair has become president of Singapore in 1981. He went and settled in Singapore, mastered Singaporean interests, attracted the people, earned their trust, and became the Rashtrapati. S.R. Nathan, Singapore, 1999. Chaddi Jagan, Guyana, President, 1992. Veeraswamy Ringadu, Mauritius, 1992. Kosakan Utane, Mauritius, 1992. Julius Wingden, Bosk, 1992. Noor Hassan, President of Trinidad and Tobago in 1984. Bharat Jagdev, Guyana, 1994. NRIs, PIOs, राष्ट्रपति बनना, प्रधानमंत्री बनना भारत के लिए बहुत बहुत गर्व की बात है. आप सब लोगों को ताली से देने के बाद मैं कहता हूँ, आप सब एनआरआईस है. एवरी वन इज एन एम्बेसडर ऑफ इंडिया. एवरी वन रिप्रेजेंट्स द इंडियन सोसाइटी, इंडियन फ्रीडम, इंडियन कल्चर, इंडियन प्रोग्रेस, इंडियन डिग्निटी, इंडियन मेजेस्टी. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is always such a pleasure to hear Honorable Dr. G.V.G. Krishnamurthy make an address. And I've heard him for so many years, and he never ceases to surprise us with new thinking and new ideas. Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my privilege in requesting His Excellency, the former Governor of Sikkim, Shri B.P. Singh, to kindly address the distinguished audience. But before I do so, I just wish to say a few words about His Excellency Shri B.P. Singh. Shri B.P. Singh is known as a scholar, a thinker, and a public servant. When he was a former Home Secretary, I think Delhi and India were safe and secure. I really mean that, because during his time, there were the least amount of political disturbances, the least amount of riots, and whenever there were, I think he was always in control of the situation. apart from looking this very simple and very distinguished young man on the top table, he is known for his wonderful books, and one of them is Indian Culture, the State and the Arts and Beyond, and the other one is Bahuda and Post 9/11 and the Problem of Change and the Study of Northeast India. The second book, of course, I've read, which is a wonderful book. And of course, he's been an organizer of a lot of Buddhist conferences. His thinking on Buddhism and his thinking on the Buddhist way of life, although he's a Hindu, is amazing. And I think, it's something which I think we need to practice in our everyday lives. He's an MA in Political Science from Patna University. He stood first in his days. And it's always such a pleasure to hear His Excellency Shri B.P. Singh address the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you His Excellency, the former Governor of Sikkim, the Honorable Shri B.P. Singh.
Namaskar. Respected Bhishma Babu, my friend Kohli ji and Krishnamurti ji, Ajit Nagpal ji, Dr. Dalbir Singh ji, Dr. Nagpal ji, Jain Sahab Ansari ji, and friends. My task has been made easier by the previous speakers. While my friend GVG was giving the list of NRIs who have become presidents and prime ministers in different lands, I was just thinking that I am glad to see some mothers here from distant lands. Maybe that one of the grandsons of mothers assembled here would again become the president or the prime minister of another country. I am saying this especially to the mother for a variety of reasons, but the main reason is that I trust them more than the fathers. Friends, you are holding this conference, you are participating in a conference on the eve of the Republic Day. Tomorrow is our Republic Day, which is a celebration of democracy. Very soon, more than 600 million Indians will participate in the largest festival of democracy in the world. You will watch them from on your television channels, because it will be spread over for nearly a month. And this way of choosing leaders is something which every Indian, every non-resident Indian should be proud of. I know orderly succession in a democracy is a requirement for progress. The vision of a leader is a requirement for progress. Today the world is looking up to India, that would India be a knowledge superpower? We are a cultural superpower. But would it be a knowledge superpower? We are a major economy. We are the largest democracy of the world, the largest pluralist society that you can think of. And I was wondering that I will share with you that thought and leave a few tips for you, which the Secretary General Guninder Singh very ably put it, that we need your investment. I'm not talking it that in that fashion. You have to appreciate that up to the 12th century, India was a knowledge superpower. The decline started after the forces of Ghazni destroyed Nalanda University. And the decline was accelerated because the Indians themselves entertained certain values. They said the women will not read. They said that people of some castes will not read. And then they started doing all kinds of things. All kinds of practices cropped up, including untouchability and sati system. Fortunately, for the last 150 years and more, a movement is taking place in India, as a result of which women are coming up. Today you can't deny education to any child, whether he is a girl or a boy, whether he is a scheduled caste or a tribal, whether he is a Dalit or a Brahmin. So that is what is important that India is doing. It will take time. It will take time. But liberating the mind, which Tagore called that we have to create a land where the mind is held high. And then only we will go up, because your mind is free to think, to innovate, to invest. Sometimes I wonder, have we reached a place? You know that this famous computer fellow called Steve Jobs, he didn't graduate, failed. This failed graduate had an idea. He went to the bank and asked for loan. They gave it. I still wonder whether a failed science graduate in India, howsoever good idea he might be having, will go to the State Bank of India or to any other bank, and his idea would be entertained or found suitable for grant of a license. We have to do that. And unless we don't create that environment of merit, we will not be able to catch up. These are restrictions of caste, of family, of wealth. You feel liberated, of course you feel liberated, because you are operating in a different environment. You have different challenges. But we are conscious of this. That liberation does not mean laxity in grant of licenses and permits, which started in 91 with tremendous results. It means encouraging people to think, to innovate, and to build a big India, whether he is in India or whether he is an Indian living abroad. I must tell you, this is a story that you read in the newspaper, oh, India is going down, its economic policies are not working. Of course, some of the economic policies are not working. Of course, its growth rate has come down. Of course, it has enormous challenges, as more than 400 million boys and girls are coming to the market for jobs, and they don't have skills. We have to give them education and skills. All these problems are there. And we have to tackle that problem. But how do we do that? It can't be with a sense of despondency. The world press creates this problem for India. I'm not saying these problems are not genuine. These problems are genuine. But I don't see a sense of despondency. You go to a remote college in Gaya or to a remote place in Gangtok or to a remote place in Assam or to a remote place in the south. Talk to the boys, which I have done. Talk to the girls, which I have done. Distance today has no meaning. And that's why I call the international communications technology revolution as a civilizational process. A strong leadership at the center is required, because in absence of a strong leadership, in absence of a strong set of armed forces and the bureaucracy, no country can prosper, no country can go ahead. And we require all this. And we feel confident that the democratic processes will throw up that leadership. And I must compliment the government of the day. I must compliment the vice chancellors and directors of the major institutions of knowledge for empowering the people. Right to information, right to education, right to livelihood, right to food, and opportunities in some of these institutions to innovate will enable the young boys and girls to go up. I congratulate them for that. But they should be doing more. There is no doubt about that. So that there is no feeling of despondency which has seeped in because of the foreign press. I will tell you a story about this despondency. We had selected, I was then Culture Secretary, Government of India, and then moved on to become the Home Secretary. We had selected Julius Nyerere, the former president of Tanzania, to be the first recipient of Gandhi Peace Prize. He was just staying in this hotel, and so I became his host. So we decided to give him the same suite, which is the presidential suite, in which he used to be staying as president. He was very happy because he knew the suite very well. I didn't. He knew. So I will come to have chat with him. And then he narrated a story to me that some of the media coverage in the West depicts that India is breaking. India is declining. India has no future. So he wanted to find out himself. Because while we were driving, it was in the night, so we took him via Connaught Place to this place. And he saw people sleeping on the pavement in the winter month. And we had decided to give him this prize on 1st January so that the message from Delhi of peace goes in Gandhi's name. And he told me that this was not when he came here, but he told me earlier. This was a visit earlier. That next day he got up in the morning. He was the chairman of the South Commission, of which Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Secretary General in Geneva. He came to the portico of this hotel from his room and asked for a taxi. The taxi came, he went round, and he saw the fellows sleeping on the pavement in the bitter cold night, they were cobblers, they were vendors, they were brushing their teeth, some was taking bath on the tap, giggling, showing great happiness and joy. So he came, he got down, asked the taxi to stop. He said, I spent some time just walking. Then again got into the taxi and came down. The taxi driver, when he got down, asked him, are you Julius Nyerere? He said, yes. I'm not going to charge you any money. He said, no, but I didn't go as Julius Nyerere. I just went as a passenger. He said, no, you are a guest of India. And he told me that day he realized, so long the Indian political system gives hope for improvement, opportunity for innovation, opportunity that takes our technological advancement further, everything else will follow. Everything else will follow. I am glad to share these thoughts of promise with you for the simple reason that you are not only ambassadors of India abroad, you are not only well-wishers of your motherland, but I would like you to enjoy India's achievements so that you take pride wherever you are. I narrate another story to end this dialogue with you. I went to Kenya some years ago. I was invited to a few Indian homes. I was very happy to see that in Kenya, Indians are doing very well. They are very rich. I don't know if we have somebody from Nairobi or somewhere. Very rich, huge bungalows and all that. So I'm narrating the story of one homes which can be replicated because I found that everywhere. That was, a fellow had a copy of Ramcharitmanas on his table. So I said, is it a piece of decoration? So the lady of the house said no. I said, can you recite something? Or can you read? And I am an avid reader of Ramcharitmanas of Tulsidas. So I said, I can. So next half an hour we only talked about Ramcharitmanas. She knew as much as I knew. And that is how the personality of the cultural personality, whatever may be your dress or my dress, the cultural personality of an Indian makes no distinction between whether he lives in India or whether he lives abroad. I want that unity of culture also to be progressed and retained along with developments in science and technology, along with developments in political processes, and the head of Indian must be held high. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Shri B.P. Singh, the Honorable former Governor of Sikkim and the former Home Secretary, Government of India, for kindly giving us a most wonderful and informative address. Ladies and gentlemen, it is always a privilege and a pleasure and an honor in requesting the next gentleman to kindly give his speech, please. Major Ved Prakash is one of the simplest human beings that I've known, the most low-profile ones, but he's a very important person and has always been. And he's always here for the NRI congresses of which NRI Welfare Society handles and organizes. And I can promise you, his speech will never be long drawn, his speech will never be long and boring, and his speech will always be short, crisp, and to the point. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm round of applause as I request Honorable Major Ved Prakash, who's the Secretary of the AICC, to kindly give his address to the distinguished audience, please.
Honorable Dr. Bhish Narayan Singh Ji, Honorable Dr. B.P. Singh Ji, Honorable Anmolak Ratan Kohli Ji, Honorable G.V.G. Krishnamurti Ji, my friend Major Dalbir, Shri Ajit Nagpal Ji, Ansari Ji, and most important, our non-resident Indian friends who have come from all over the world, keeping in mind the concern of the country and the people, and who are present here, I welcome you all. It's a great day for us. This month itself, during the Pravasi Bharati conference organized by our Honorable Minister, Shri Velar Ravi, I was present and I happened to interact with large number of our friends, NRIs, and I could see that when they come to India, they have great regard and affection for the people of India, the concern for the people of India, and they want that India should progress well. I can assure you, as my previous friends who have delivered good lectures here have told, how much progress in this country has taken place, whether it is power sector, whether it is roads, telecommunication, education, hospitals, agriculture produce, industry, and we are a country to be proud of. I feel very happy. You know, while I was sitting here, I was watching the ups and downs of the people sitting here, facial. And I found your concern for the people is genuine. Every year, our NRI Welfare Society of India, being run so well by Gurinder Singh Ji, Deepak Singh Ji and his team, they invite and I always come. The Pravasi Bharati also I have attended many times. Apart from that, I have attended the Indian chapter of the World Economic Forum, where large number of Indians who have settled abroad and who are doing very well, they come and I interact. And I find that people are very happy as to how India is being governed, how it is growing. Because as I said, I would not like to repeat, so much of progress and development has taken place. But I would definitely like that you, as our ambassadors of the country, what you see here and what the progress and development is taking place, you must convey it to whichever country you have settled down and tell them that India needs your participation, because in every NRI conference they appeal that look, India has tremendous resources, whether it is agriculture product, whether it is minerals, you ask anything, India produces everything, whether it is I should not repeat because it will become then a longer one. I should say that there is tremendous opportunity here, and each one of you are ambassadors who can convey the message to the people that look, India is being governed well and you have good opportunity to invest, whether it is in education sector, whether it is in health sector, whether it is in industry, whether it is in communication, whether it is in power sector, everywhere. So, we have literature on the subject, and if you have a query, Sardar Gurinder Singh Ji will be very happy to apprise you of the opportunities available over here. So friends, I won't take long because, you know, I have heard each of the speaker and they have, you know, expressed their thoughts so well, and I would only say that as ambassador of the country, when you go back, please tell everyone that India is a great country, with the great people. One thing here I would like to mention about the people, because you know, in the resources available, most important resource we have are the people. We have intelligent, hard-working people in India who are ready to work any time of the day, 24 hours, all the 365 days. They are ready, they have energy, they have intelligence, and they have spirit to work. So friends, convey this all over, wherever you are, and I am sure you will be the great ambassador of our country. Thank you very much.
I promised you that Major Ved Prakash would give us a wonderful address, and he's just done so. Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful address. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my privilege and honor in requesting His Excellency, the Honorable former Governor of Mizoram, Shri Amulya Ratan Kohli. Just a few words about him. I've known him for many years, and it is my privilege to have known him. His children are also known to me, and but a little bit about him. He is from the first batch of IIM Kolkata, and he's done his MBA way back. He set up the first ISO 9001 Management Institute, Education Institute in India. And as the governor of Mizoram, I think he's done a lot when he was there. And more than anything else, he's a person who's very learned. He's got loads and loads of experience, can converse on any topic under the sun. Of course, he's known for his speeches, his lectures, his addresses. Ladies and gentlemen, you will be treated to a wonderful address. So let's welcome His Excellency Shri Amulya Ratan Kohli, Honorable Governor of former Governor of Mizoram, to kindly address us, please.
My esteemed friends on the dais and our distinguished Indians who have succeeded abroad. You and your parents, when they left the country, I can assure you, in 50s and 60s, you had a question mark on the faces of the countries where you went. India was considered to be a poor country, struggling country, and you had to equally struggle there in your new ventures. Ladies and gentlemen, you succeeded with your hard work, your dedication, your commitment to you and to the nation of your choice. You made us proud. Thank you very much for that. Today you see a different India. Particularly after the 1991, when we were at the lowest point of our economics, when we had to mortgage our gold to meet our foreign exchange requirements. And that became the turning point in the history of India. We had a dominant public sector which was considered inefficient. I strongly used to say, although I was a part of that, Yatha Raja Vepari, Tatha Praja Bhikhari. And that point was understood by the nation. private sector was a protected sector. It meant public sector plus you are 10% more efficient, you are good. The moment we opened the economy, we went through a very painful process. Lot of Indian industries asked the government, what are you doing? Credit to the then Prime Minister, Mr. Narasimha Rao. I call him the most underrated Prime Minister of India, who did a lot for this country. What are you doing? We'll be finished. There were only two industrialists who stood at that time amongst the traditional industrialists, Dhirubhai Ambani and Aditya Birla, who said we are not scared of competition. How transformation took place? Most of the earlier industrialists who were known faces in this country, they vanished and became ordinary businessmen because competition came. But new entrepreneurship class came into this nation. Many NRIs who succeeded outside came back to India thinking now it's a land of opportunity, brought their expertise, they put up a lot of organizations and the new ventures. Many new entrepreneurship class also grew within the nation. And India became a vibrant economy which world started looking with admiration from the year 1998 and 2000 onwards. And there was a success story after that. I would only like to warn you, ups and downs are in any nation's life. But at the same time, I'll assure you, we have a vibrant democracy in our country. Governments will come and go, but people will always elect